So my name is Bob Bollas.
My name is Betty Bollas.
Owner here at Fibonacci Brewing, me and my wife Betty.
I'm the president and co-owner at Fibonacci Brewing Company.
My journey in craft beer, I guess, started shortly after college. I didn't realize there were beers out there that you could just drink because they tasted good, you know. I'm not someone who can just enjoy something for what it is. I have to know how it works. So I started learning about brewing, talking to brewers, but I didn't brew anything until 2007. My wife got me a kit for my birthday, and I think I brewed 6 batches of beer the first month I had it. Brewing that often, which is great, and you're rewarded with this phenomenal final product, quickly end up with a lot of beer on your hands that you can't drink all yourself if you want to keep brewing. So we would have kind of dinner parties, and Betty would make food to pair with the different beers. During one of these, there was a beer that I had brewed that I really didn't even want to do. I'm like, Betty, scrap it. It didn't come out how I wanted, but we ended up serving it, and it ended up being everyone's favorite beer of the night. So if I'm able to brew things that I don't even think are that great and people love it, maybe we could do this.
We were looking at buildings, and Bob didn't want to pursue this one with the cost.
I was kind of joking with my wife. I'm like, that's way too much. If we could get it for half that, then, I'll finish the business plan, we'll move forward with doing this. About 2 or 3 weeks later, they cut the price in half. Worked on finishing up the business plan for about another 3 or 4 weeks. The night before we were going to meet with a bank to get financing to purchase the property, they cut the price in half again. So then it was a sign, right? Now we have to do it. So. This building, before we purchased it, was a flower shop, and this is actually where we got our flowers for our wedding.
Being supportive of local businesses has always been important to me, even before owning one. So then, of course, if there was a flower shop in Mount Healthy, that's where we were going to get our wedding flowers. To turn the brewery into a spot for the community, I think a lot of it for me is just to find the holes in places where our community is in need. So for example, our community has areas where it's a food desert, meaning that people don't have access to fresh produce. So having the farmers market was a first step toward helping with that. Also getting SNAP and produce perks so that people can use food assistance at our farmers market to purchase things. I've always loved Little Free Libraries, and they have a read and color program. So it's about representation in books and how important that is. And living in such a diverse community, it's even more important then. So we've been able to work with the Friends of the Library so that we can put some really fantastic books in our libraries. So I think it's just things like that, and because we live here, we tend to know what some of the needs are. There's just a lot going on in this community. I just see a lot of potential for the future. Bob laughs, I think, because he's like, I basically just found an umbrella business to do all my fun stuff underneath. So I always wanted to be a beekeeper, always wanted to have chickens and goats, the libraries, the farmers market. We used to grow our entire backyard, which was my practice because someday I wanted to sell what I grew at a farmer's market. So then now we host one.
Right once COVID started, we saw it was getting bad, and it looked like a shutdown was going to be imminent.
I kept watching Italy, New York, California, watching these states shut down or how they were doing it, what they were choosing to shut down. And I kept saying to Bob, Ohio is going to shut down bars and restaurants. They are going to close our business. And then I said, I wonder if we can deliver beer to people's homes.
And I'm like, the state is not going to allow us to do that. And she's like, well, I'm going to contact them anyways.
And so I called and asked, and they said, yes, you can deliver beer to people's homes. Bob's a software engineer. And so he started working on an online store so we could start selling for drive-through and delivery. And we were the first people to launch in the state.
We had a phenomenal, first month. while we were shut down, just because, you know, we were one of the only breweries doing that locally as far as delivering. A couple weeks after, you know, the shutdowns occurred, yeah, we had a tornado. I don't know what the category, but like a serious storm, yeah. We had a huge branch come down. Our sign was, you know, knocked off out there, hanging at like 45 degrees. So yeah, while we're just getting used to this whole way of operating as a business, now we all of a sudden had to deal with this too.
We were supposed to have our first farmer's market in May, but because of the tornado, I said, I'm out. I cannot do this all right now. So I felt like we needed a little more time. So we waited 2 more weeks and then reopened at the beginning of June and had our first farmer's market.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation, but it's never going to be the ideal time to have to go through, you know, something you're not expecting. But it was the beginning of COVID. We expected nothing else than another roadblock in the way to have to hurdle.
We're still building and doing the things that we have had planned. So we'll have 7 beehives this year. I have all the plants ordered from the Civic Garden Center for our pollinator apiary area. Fire pits and lighting just happened this spring. That was on the plan. I'm Betty Bollas, president and co-owner of Fibonacci Brewing Company. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We go by Fib Brewing on those. We also have a website, fibbrew.com. Our address is 1445 Compton Road, Mount Healthy, Ohio. And I don't know what else. I assume you guys can cut things.
No, that was perfect. Yeah, you're fine.
Was that good?
Yeah.